The Packard name is all over Warren. There's the Packard Park and Packard Music Hall, but never has there been a book written about the Packard family until now. A man from Michigan, a lover of Packards, has authored a book about one of Warren's most famous families. With the details, here's 27 First News anchor Stan Boney.
Well, I'm standing here this morning at the Packard Museum in Warren because there's going to be a new book coming out in September called More Than Automobiles, the Packards of Warren, Ohio. And joining me is Jim Balfour, the author of this book. Jim, how did you ever come up with this idea?
Well, being a Packard nut for 60 years plus, I think I've naturally evolved into Packard love of Warren, Ohio, because this was the home of Packard. But then I found out through the years that the Packard family was much more than automobiles.
What do you mean by much more?
Well, they've founded several companies that are now part of General Motors, or Delphi I should say, and General Electric. They created these businesses that provided improved standard of living for tens of thousands of employees and their families. And they provided much for the improved standard of living of the world through the 19th and 20th centuries.
Now, you really have no connection to Warren at all, do you, other than a love of Packards?
No, just through the museum here. I'm loyal to the museum, of course.
Now, did you come to Warren to do any of your research?
Oh, sure. I have, of course, a very diligent researcher and critic in Cindy Mines. She did a lot of the work on this thing. And through the years, I've collected a lot of stuff from Packard.
Now, you say you're a Packard nut. How many Packards do you own?
Only have one right now, which isn't running, but I've had about a half a dozen since I was 14 years old. So that's how it started.
The book itself, will it tell a story? It
is the biography, basically, of two generations of the Packards of Warren, Ohio, which tells how they created their fortunes, the entrepreneurship that was involved, a lot of the personal life of these people, their vocations and avocations. It was just wonderful. There's roughly 100 illustrations in the book, many of which have never been published before. It should be of great interest to the people of this area.
All right, Jim Balfour, thanks very much for the time. I sure do appreciate it, and good luck with the book. I'm sure a lot of people around Warren and Youngstown will be interested to read it. Again, it's called More Than Automobiles, the Packards of Warren, Ohio, and it will be out in September. In Warren, Stan Boney, WKBN 27 First News.